This Amazonian hero is back for Wonder Woman 1984, and we can't help but wonder which new powers she'll have. Of course, there's her classic lasso, but we're hoping this hero gets some major upgrades this time around. Since she's ultra-powerful Amazonian royalty, isn't it just a little ridiculous that Wonder Woman has to walk around on her two sticks like the rest of us mere mortals?
And here I am using my legs like a sucker.
Well, according to this leaked image from Wonder Woman 1984, we might soon get to see Diana take flight. She's been a staple in DC Comics since 1941, when a lot of her abilities were explained away under the all-encompassing umbrella of magic. But in recent years, heroes have gained all kinds of handy gadgets to help them instead. So while Wonder Woman could fly around in an aircraft, it would be even more awesome to see her soaring through the sky because of her own tremendous power. But if Diana does need to go flying through the sky propelled by something other than her own powers, we have some ideas on that topic too. Being able to fly is great, but what if Diana wants to bring some of her friends along? Flying a plane is pretty great, but flying an invisible plane is definitely next level.
I still marvel at your transparent plane, Wonder Woman.
This piece of tech is iconic as Wonder Woman's lasso, so it's well past time it was introduced into the DCEU. In fact, some fans believe we might have already caught a glimpse of this barely there aircraft, as counterintuitive as that may sound. These behind-the-scenes photos show Wonder Woman actress Gal Gadot in a seated position while suspended. It might not look that exciting, but with a little imagination and a lot of CGI, it's possible this could become an awesome invisible jet on the big screen. Being able to fly on her own accord or choose to kick back on her invisible jet would definitely give this hero some well-deserved options. Wonder Woman has no shortage of special abilities, many of which we've already seen her demonstrate in previous films. She's strong, fast, agile, and incredibly durable, but that's not the full extent of her powers. There's a few abilities that she doesn't get a ton of use out of, but would be great to have incorporated into Wonder Woman 1984. She's been shown to have some psychic abilities, and can astrally project herself wherever she wants to go. This would be handy if she wants to make a quick trip without fueling up the invisible jet, but it has some other advantages too. Diana would have the ability to explore not just the DCEU as we know it, but different dimensions. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is a whole multiverse, so we wouldn't be surprised if DC tries to incorporate something similar into their movies. We know Disney owns Marvel Studios and not DC, but whether she's owned by the House of Mouse or not, Diana is still a princess. And as a princess, she naturally has the ability to communicate with animals. That's right, this interspecies gift of gab was given to her by none other than Artemis, goddess of the hunt. We don't need to see her going full-on Snow White or anything, but this would be a fun aspect of her character to incorporate into Wonder Woman 1984. Although since she primarily finds herself in cities nowadays, she might find herself conversing with a lot of pigeons and rats. Diana has been given blessings from many deities, but there are some powers she fought hard to win herself, like when she defeated Ares in the New 52 and then ended up with one of his more impressive abilities. Sure, being the god of war makes you bulletproof and that's great and all, but the major bonus we'd like to see on the big screen is her ability to command soldiers. You would think soldiers would be predisposed to take orders from superheroes, but apparently they need a little bit of additional influence. With this ability, Diana could have a legion of soldiers under her control in no time at all. Maybe she could even command a few of them to carry her equipment for her, huh? So she doesn't end up with a sword in a very uncomfortable place. Since he's the god of war, it's not surprising that Ares gets a lot of airtime, but there's a whole pantheon to pick from. One of Diana's other useful abilities comes from the harvest goddess, Demeter. Agriculture might not seem like something you'd want to see incorporated into an action movie, but stay with us here. Demeter's blessing allows Diana to heal herself using the power of the earth itself. Offensive powers are cool and all, but being able to withstand massive injuries and get back into battle is important too. The caveat to this healing power is that its effectiveness depends on how close Wonder Woman is to the earth. This would also add an element of danger to the times Diana does end up flying through the sky. So far, we've gotten hints of Diana's divine power, but it's something we definitely want to see more of in the sequel. Yes, she can tap her bracelets together to fire up some energy attacks. But that's pretty standard superhero fare. To help set her apart from other characters, it would be great to see Diana embrace real magic. Well, really fake CGI magic at least. Diana should have access to abilities given to her directly from Hecate. She only has a fraction of this deity's power, but that's still an insane amount. She should be on par with Zatanna, banishing demons and slinging around spells instead of rubbing her arms together and hoping for the best. And since one of Superman's few weaknesses is magical attacks, this would have been nice to include at some point in Justice League, but better late than never. Being able to control living soldiers would definitely be a handy skill, but being able to raise an army of the undead is something else entirely, and that something is awesome. When Wonder Woman destroyed Ares, she inherited his dominion over the dead. Maybe necromancy should fall under the umbrella of magic, but we think it deserves its own category. We haven't seen her make use of this power yet, but there are tons of fans who would love to see her test it out. We'd like to see Wonder Woman show off more of her supernatural powers, so it's only fair if her enemies do the same. She's definitely got some durability going, but we haven't seen her display much of a resistance to magical attacks. Not that she should be completely immune to spells, but a bit of an advantage would definitely be nice. Plus, this would give her more ways to stand out from Superman, since on the surface they have a few similar powers. He can shoot beams out of his eyes, Diana can resist magic. See, it's all about balance. In the first Wonder Woman movie, we saw Diana entering a world she knew precious little about. It was a big change moving from her isolated human to a totally different society, and she had some challenges fitting in.
That's not gonna work. Please put the sword down, Diana. Diana.
But the Wonder Woman we want to see is far more wise than the bright-eyed version we saw in the first film. While she clearly got into the swing of things by the time Justice League rolled around, she hasn't displayed any of the Athena caliber wisdom we want to see. In the Silver Age, Wonder Woman was said to be as beautiful as Aphrodite, which Gal Gadot definitely has down pat, and as wise as Athena, which remains to be seen. She also seems to have the speed of Hercules and swiftness of Hermes, so she really needs a couple of blessings from Athena, and she'll be all set. Wonder Woman is an expert communicator, and while some people might not consider that a superpower, it definitely comes in handy. Just imagine how much blessedly shorter Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice would have been if Bruce and Clark would have just talked things out from the get-go.
Save Martha!
Wonder Woman can speak all human languages, but so far we've only seen her speaking the old-fashioned way. What we'd like to see is her using her ability for telepathic communication. In the comics, she's able to train herself in the art of mental communication, which comes in handy from time to time. It's a more subtle skill, but allows her to command others with greater efficiency and from greater distances. In addition to flying, piloting an invisible jet, or just taking a stroll, Diana can also teleport herself anywhere she needs to go. This process instantly moves her, and sometimes other people, impossible distances. Of course, this could come across as too powerful, so to make things more complex, she achieves this using an artifact called the Caduceus. Since she's been established as an antiquities expert, this is something she might stumble upon and find useful. Not only can she zip around the DCEU this way, but it could also provide her a means to physically travel to other dimensions, giving her tons of options for more awesome adventures. If we're going to dream up some amazing new powers for Wonder Woman, we might as well dream big, right? Like totally unrealistic crossover fanfiction big. As far as vague descriptors go, being worthy is pretty open to interpretation, but that's the qualification needed to wield Thor's incredible hammer Mjolnir. We love seeing the God of Thunder toss it around, and for some reason it's even more exciting to see what other heroes are capable of wielding it. In the crossover series DC vs Marvel Comics, Wonder Woman is able to pick up Mjolnir with no trouble. Although she had too much integrity to use it in her fight against Storm in the comics, we'd love to see her use it to knock enemies into next year. Maybe this crossover is a little ambitious for Wonder Woman 1984, but we're optimistic it could happen someday. She has superhuman strength, speed, and agility. She's a genius who speaks all languages, and she throws an indestructible whip like it's nothing. So with that in mind, why did she spend most of Justice League taking orders from Batman? As much as we love the guy, he doesn't even have any superpowers. So should he really be taking charge over a princess? We'd like to see Diana take charge instead of taking orders. She definitely has what it takes to be a leader, and that's a pretty amazing power all on its own. Obviously, Gal Gadot is a talented actress who makes a fantastic Wonder Woman.
I cannot stand by while innocent lives are lost.
But we can't help but have a special place in our hearts for Linda Carter's classic version. Some of the DC films take themselves way too seriously, and one of the reasons we're so excited about Wonder Woman 1984 is because it looks a lot more lighthearted.
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
Is it really so much to ask to see Wonder Woman twirl herself into her iconic costume just once on the big screen? What powers do you think Wonder Woman should add to her arsenal in the next movie? Or do you think her stats are stacked enough? Tell us what you think in the comments section below, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at Screen Rant. We'll see you next time.